was amazing to watch how you could buy a house for $30,000 and now it's selling for $300,000 or $400,000, and so few people can afford that.
Trying to find an apartment for a family of 5 was almost impossible.
If you add in that you have electric and heat and all these other things, it just becomes, I mean, astronomical.
Work is underway on a new neighborhood in Shelburne. Officials say the Harrington Village neighborhood is designed for people of all ages and income levels. 82 new homes and 42 family apartments will be built.
Was that in the 80s, Vermont was one of the states that started losing affordable housing that had been subsidized for 15 or 20 years. And some of those people were immediately displaced.
And a year later, the rents had been doubled and everybody had moved out of a town with a good school system because they couldn't afford it.
People shouldn't be spending more than 30% of their gross income on their housing. That's rent or a mortgage payment, taxes, and utilities, because they need the other 70% to live.
I make too much money. They don't consider me like being totally in poverty, but really there's not much money to do anything with.
We don't live an extravagant lifestyle.
Just getting people back on a welfare or something wasn't going to help them out of that situation.
Our housing all across the state is providing opportunities for people who have wages, say, between $15,000 and $35,000 a year.
But we're doing that in a Vermont way by reinvesting in our historic infrastructure and our historic settlement pattern.
The people we serve, either they're working hard and yet they can't afford a decent home, or they have a disability or an illness or on Social Security.
We do both have our master's degrees.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be making it on our own, and that's just not how life works out.
We are creating less of the kind of jobs that could give people a middle-class life.
Home ownership in this country helped make the middle class, gave a whole generation of people a great start, sent their kids to college.
We have still a large population of people who are working multiple jobs, trying to figure out how to afford a living.
There are 22 banks that operate in Vermont, and 20 of them have invested with us in affordable housing.
The bank would make an investment in the project. Folks that work at Housing Vermont take the money, develop the land, develop the project. They hire contractors, they manage the property, and we would get a return based on our tax credits.
We've been on Mansfield Avenue since 1886. We started thinking about what is the best, most helpful use of this property. And I think it was Housing Vermont that suggested multi-generational housing. They brought an expertise and they brought the money. The Sisters of Mercy brought the property and the desire to use the property in a very meaningful way to help people's lives.
Housing Vermont's been involved in our brand new co-op that's going to bring new traffic downtown. Not what you'd think about, oh, Housing Vermont, right? It's about housing.
We now have federal funds that provide for non-housing commercial activities. Everything from a manufacturing plant to a 140-room hotel right here on the corner of Main Street and St. Paul.
That's another important part of Housing Vermont's work, build an economy along with building affordable housing.
We're really the envy of the other states, that we have so many housing programs with such deep support.
We could get far more for the public investment if we do things the way Vermont has done. These are 21st century solutions.
Our goal is not just per se to create affordable housing for people, but to really, you could say, to heal communities and heal neighborhoods.
The biggest problem that can occur is the NIMBY issue, right? Not in my backyard.
The neighbors had a vision that it was going to be noisy and wild, like they were living next to a frat house or something. I don't know.
And you say to somebody, oh, that's one of our affordable housing buildings across the street. Go, no, they don't believe it.
And I remember my mother's Alzheimer's doctor saying to them, what a gift you're giving your kids by moving into assisted living. And boy,
that was true?
It was huge.
What's exciting is to see young people making a commitment to the state.
You know, it touches your heart when you see that people have had a chance to become professional people or to become people that are contributing members of society.
If we didn't do the work we did, the beautiful parts of Vermont would only be for those who could afford something very expensive. We create beauty and we respect history and we make vital communities for people of any income. And you don't feel poor when you live there. Yeah. That's as it should be. Yeah.